Bet. Okay. We are live. Here, let me get my headphones on. I'm wearing my University of St. Mary's gear right here.
I'm wearing
Go
UNC
Spires.
stuff once again.
Hey, Andrew Alirez, Big 12 champ, baby.
Oh, right! That is really awesome.
Yeah.
Previously, UNC was 0-4 in those games.
I know. A hometown hero, too. He's a Greeley boy, Greeley Central boy.
I'm the hero.
All right. Well, shout out to Coach Bannis real quick over at Greeley Central. Wrestling coach, that's my guy.
Do you want to change the title of the stream?
Yeah, I could do that. While I do that. Oh my god. Okay, I could hear myself twice now.
Another pair of young QBs to break down today.
Yes. Speaking of
that's what I'm putting in the chat.
Do you want to talk about Russ?
I mean, okay, this is a special episode. This is a special stream because this is the first Playmakers Corner episode recorded in the Russell Wilson era of the Denver Broncos. And so in celebration of that, we're going to break down quarterbacks' films who, look, it's connected in some way. Just enjoy the episode and be happy like me that the Broncos actually have a competent quarterback. No disrespect to Teddy. And Drew, I will always have that Houston game, but that's about it. Anyways, speaking of quarterbacks that are now in the state of Colorado, these guys have been here longer than Russell Wilson, obviously, because they played this last season in the fall for some teams in Colorado. I'm talking about Alex Birch out of Horizon High School. Is going to be somebody that we talk about today. And we're going to open up the episode, actually, with Austyn Modrzewski, who we've seen at, Team Full Gorilla tryouts, as well as in the Ambush versus Ducks scrimmage that happened, is that 3 weeks ago?
That was last week, bro.
Everything is relevant these days for me. But anyways.
Yeah, it was 2 weeks ago.
We got to see Austyn put in some off-season work and kind of check out this Mountain Vista squad, at least what they'd look like in the secondary and through the air in sevens. We know that things look different, but, very intrigued by Austyn's journey here. He has a pretty interesting story, and I think that it's one worth taking a look at here. And also, Austyn's family also offered to send over full game film for us to evaluate at a later time. However, we are going to watch through the freshman season huddle highlights and critique that along with things that we saw in person.
Yes.
Simon, am I missing anything? You
no.
pronounce it as Modzewski?
What?
True.
What are you saying?
Is that true? Great boy, 5137. Watch, it's Austyn.
It's probably Austyn.
I'm just gonna say Austyn because that's the safe route.
That's
what I do. But anyways.
We're going to need to ask him.
Simon,
you talk to
him. Is there
him.
anything that you want to add on here before we jump all the way into this? Or should we just watch the film, go through the rubric, and then talk stats?
No, we should talk about the situation he was in his freshman year first. But other than that, no, you pretty...
Muted.
What? I am not muted. Hold up, bruh. Give me 1 sec.
Simon, I cannot hear you.
I don't know what to tell you, bro. I didn't mute myself.
The silence is deafening.
1 sec. Yo, are you good? Nope. Obviously not. I could see myself talking and whatnot. Here, give me 1 quick second. We'll do a couple quick checks and then we'll hop into this thing here.
Looking for royalty-free music?
Hello?
Yo, what's up with you? You good?
There you are. A bit of technical difficulties here at the beginning of the show, but we'll be all right.
That was weird. I'm going to look back at that, but I can see my audio going up and down.
I could see you talking was the funny part. I could see you talking, but it was just like somebody hit mute on the channel. But it's okay. We persevered because that's what we do here at Playmakers Corner for the fans. We hang tight. And,
okay. That explains a lot because I was saying stuff and you were talking over me. So I was like, okay, well, whatever. All right.
Wow, you just accepted that?
Yes.
Wow.
Yes. But anyways, let's talk about Austyn's journey, or let's start with high school first, right? How this last season went before we look at his highlights. How does that sound?
That sounds great. Simon,
Okay.
who I can now hear.
Bet. Well, let's go ahead and hop into it. So played for Mountain Vista, got snaps. You know, doesn't mean he was a starter, I don't think. From what it sounds like, it sounded like that basically, I mean, he was, he was splitting snaps, right, with another quarterback. That's kind of how it sounds, how it went down over there. Kodey, you went to see him play against Arapahoe. He had 3 pass attempts, so nothing crazy happened. Did have a touchdown in that game, though, which did end up mattering against Arapahoe. But other than that, you know, didn't really get a whole bunch of snaps for the most part. Got a lot of snaps against Grandview the week before and whatnot, before that Arapahoe game. And then, you know, had about 15 against Legend. Then obviously split against Rangeview. And so very up and down. He really wasn't the full-time starter, I would say, until... what is this? October 21st? That's when... Wait, right? That's the Castleview game?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That's when he went over 20 pass attempts for the first time in his entire career. So, I mean, I could probably assume there. And then from there, he was a starter, you know, for the rest of the regular season. And then their playoff game as well, which, he was impressive, honestly, in that little stretch as well. I mean, you know, he made plays throughout the year, but this is when he really started to pick up and kind of settled in to his role here. So there you go there. I'm just going to read the stat lines real quick, and starting with that Castleview game and then down. So against Castleview, they lost that one. That was a close one, 41-42. Still won 24 of 36 for 360 passing yards, 3 touchdowns to 2 interceptions. A little inaccurate here. One of those interceptions was probably some sort of Hail Mary or some sort of last-ditch attempt to get into the end zone. So, I mean, basically a 3-to-1 ratio. That's not bad at all. Got in a shootout with a solid Castleview team as well who made the playoffs. So there you go. Beat Highlands Ranch pretty easily, 42-0. He threw for 245 passing yards, 4 touchdowns in that game. Then in the playoffs against Legacy, he won 24 of 28. Only missing 4 passes. Very efficient here for 317 passing yards, 6 touchdowns, and a single pick. And then, unfortunately, they would go up against the defending champs and your eventual state champs in Cherry Creek. Still not the worst. 14 of 26, 157 passing yards, and 2 interceptions, no touchdowns in that game. And so... we're working with kind of limited film here. We will get his full film eventually, and we'll send over whatever, honestly, just whatever, updated notes or critique that we have. But this will be a raw reaction, so we're just going to look at what we saw here. And then, obviously, we've seen this dude throw before. I mean, he has a great arm, super accurate, too. And then, also, we've heard some really good things about him off the field as well, which is never a bad thing. And I don't think we talk about as much as we probably could. So, just going to throw that out there. But, Kodey, is there anything else you want to mention there about Austyn here in the regular season, playoffs, how that kind of went?
I mean... speaking on, you know, his off the field, he is a 3.8 GPA student, so that's impressive for sure. And I will say that during that Arapahoe game, I was really thrown off when they were switching out quarterbacks, kind of depending on the different throws and stuff. And I think it's a real shame that we didn't get to see more Austyn earlier. I think the only thing about it is, you know, at the beginning of the season, Vista was winning games. You know, they were 3-2 before heading into league play, and then, you know, they kind of hit a 2-game skid before Austyn really got his chance, and, you know, put up a great fight against this pretty solid Castleview team that, you know, almost beat Pomona in the playoffs. So you have that, and this legacy squad that he performed really well against in the playoffs, magnificently against in the playoffs. They have some dogs on the defensive side of the ball, and even on the offensive side of the ball. This legacy squad had a lot of athletic talent, I want to say. And so, I want to put some respect on Legacy's name, but also by doing that, putting respect on Austyn's name here. And I believe that one touchdown against Arapahoe that he threw was to Ja'Kai Mack, which, by the way, another reason why it's a big shame that he didn't get in sooner is because, this Mountain Vista squad, receiving-wise, was stacked. You had Ja'Kai Mack, who's also a freshman, really athletic, excellent vertical. And then on top of that, you had Nick Stone, who is our number 3 ranked senior receiver in this senior class. And honestly, one of the best to do it in the state. He's just all around really good, especially after the catch. So that makes a quarterback's job easier. And I think that if he had gotten an early opportunity that, maybe they win this Castleview game. Maybe they win this Rock Canyon game. And something else that I think is really interesting about looking at Austyn's schedule here compared to Alex's schedule here is they face a handful of the same teams, which is really weird considering that they're not in the same league. But between league and out-of-league play, they bump into some similar opponents, which makes for some interesting comparisons. But, other than that, follow Austyn at AUSTYNQB13 on Twitter. I just got to plug him real quick, and let's watch some film, Simon. That's okay. I will just... They can't hear me either. Yes, okay. So, anyways, we're experiencing some technical difficulties this time on the mouse end, trying to watch this video. But it looks like we've solved it. Coach V, little known fact about him, he also is an IT genius. So if you have any computer problems, go ahead and reach out to his DMs. I'm sure he'd love to see that.
No, don't don't do that. I'm just used to being a teacher without help. So anyways, let's go ahead and look at Austyn Modrzewski's film here. It's not super long here, not as long as some other guys, but definitely plenty to look at here. And we'll stop and talk about some of the stuff that is going on here as well. So yeah, Kodey, I'm at 0-0. You ready?
Yep.
All right, let's get it. 3, 2, 1, go. All right, so I'm really interested to see what this film looks like. He was splitting snaps, so can't imagine he has the most amount of highlights. Ooh,
look at that dart to start off.
That's a beautiful post route.
That's a nice throw.
Oh, this
all right,
is
we got some Cherry
here.
Creek film.
It's never a bad thing.
A game that he struggled in, but, we'd love to see any plays. That's really close to the line of scrimmage.
That receiver was very much open.
Yes, that was blown coverage for sure, but either way, a way to step up in the pocket, I guess. Be careful of that line of scrimmage. Good job. That's a low snap.
Ooh, good play.
Nice throw. I think that's Ja'Kai again. So they're already forming a rapport. Oh, my Lord. What is going on with this center, dude?
Center, yeah. Nice little throw to the sideline.
Yeah, way to get it out, man. Holy cow. That's some intense pressure, too. All right, this is in the Castleview game where he really rocked.
What a
nice timing
great throw. Good touch.
Nick Stone taking it upfield. You'll love to see it.
That's his highlight right there.
Yeah, we've seen this play before.
Yeah. But that's a good throw. Dang, 28-42.
Oh, they're down 42-28. They really tried to storm. Maybe they went for 2 or something and just missed out.
Oh, good job.
Good poise in this pocket.
That's a good delivery.
Constantly collapsing pocket.
His receiver should have stayed up, but that was a good job there.
Oh my gosh, dude! This Creek pressure.
That was underthrown. It was underthrown. You should have put it a little bit more there.
You should have put it a little further, but it got there.
Not bad.
That pump fake could have used a little bit more work, but that's against Legacy, I think.
Yeah. Oh my God.
You got blocked on that throw. Is that what we're talking about?
Yeah.
He does a pretty good job towards the middle of the field.
This pocket movement's pretty elite. I don't want to say elite just yet, but it's pretty good. I'm impressed.
No, it's very impressive, especially given the snaps.
He low-key, he had him a little bit open earlier. Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's
For
okay.
the time that he decided to deliver.
Nice.
Yeah, that was cool. He has some pretty solid completions in this Creek game, which is reassuring. This is Thunder Ridge, I think.
His
threw up a
poise.
jump ball that didn't really need to be a jump ball, but that's okay.
Yeah,
it's
just
Ja'Kai
leave him
Mack.
out, right?
You like that matchup.
Mm-hmm. His poise in the pocket is special, dude. Just how he manipulates it and throws under pressure.
And
Nice.
he
Good
knows
delivery
when to
there.
hang in and he knows when to move, too, is
Mhm.
the really impressive thing. Like, he has a lot of IQ as far as the pocket manipulation goes. This is just a different angle on it. Nope. He's... Oh my gosh, he gets rocked in this game over and over again.
But it's Creek.
I mean,
Their front seven is all D1 guys, basically.
Yeah. Nice lob to
easy
get over.
throw.
That's
Yeah.
Herschel Craig, too. He's a guy who bats passes down, and I think watching his film, he did bat some passes down against this Vista squad.
Oh,
But, I mean,
legend.
regardless, a score's a score.
He
Oh,
caught them sleeping a little bit there.
Yeah, but that speed, they caught up. But,
Yeah.
That was a nice
good
delivery. Good touch
Mhm.
on it.
Yes.
He's way stronger over the middle than he is down the sidelines, though. That's something that I think is pretty noticeable. Would you say that's a timing thing, probably? Oh, that was a...
No, that was
big
good.
stone. So, you like that matchup.
What do you mean? Is it a timing thing?
Like, you think if he's struggling with passes down the sidelines versus over the middle.
Well, down the sidelines could be pretty tough. I mean, I don't know. He has naturally pretty good timing in general on most of his throws. We just haven't seen a lot of shots down the sideline. You know, just him ripping it. But also, it's probably because his line isn't giving him time to, let his receivers get open either. Like, even on this post route, man, like, he's fighting for his life to deliver that. This one was a little late, but not
A
bad.
little late, but...
Oh, that looked a lot closer than what it probably was, but it was on the outside shoulder, it looked like, so... I'll give him a pass.
Oh my gosh.
That's
He's
real
getting
good
rocked
placement.
on like every play. Get Joe Burrow here some help. Ugh.
Oh, did he throw that? It looked like he was trying to throw
the camera-
outside.
The camera
Yeah.
got fooled.
I mean, he had to throw it a little bit, like make his receiver stop for it, or else he was going to run into him. Oh, nope. Okay. Here, go back. Let's
Are
go
we
back.
watching this?
We'll
Yeah.
stop. Yeah, here. Let's go back to 503 here real quick. And then I'll just keep playing this part here. This isn't the greatest decision.
This is not the right read.
I'm also wondering what down this is, because maybe there's a reason he's trying to
See
force
the
it.
markers?
Where the
Look at where the markers
That's
are.
why I'm
They're at
wondering
the
what down
30.
it is, because I see the markers right here
Dude.
at the 40, and then they're
How
on
did you
the
end
other
up
40.
on the 46-yard line, and the first down's at the 20. How did you...
It happens. It's probably not
What
his
the-
fault, obviously, but
That
hey,
is such a...
here. Let me
Look
let
at
me
the
go
other
back.
sideline, though. Look
Well,
at the other side.
No, yeah, I know. Here, I'm looking at this though, and this outside receiver who goes in. I think this is a post route. Let me look at this just one more time here.
Or is he drifting? No, I think it's supposed to be a post.
Yeah, no, he probably could fit it right here, but I think he tried to jump the gun a little bit. I mean, he didn't need to. There's not like a whole ton of pressure, but he tries to go for this guy who's releasing outside here, and I mean that safety is like just sitting on it. Plus, he also airs it just a little bit. If that safety was a better safety, I'm just being completely honest, that should have been a pick. Like, I don't know why he's trying to
It
tackle
might
the
have even
receiver
been a
here.
pick six.
Well,
If,
yeah.
If he went for the ball.
Yeah, and
Now,
so
look at
go.
at
Sorry,
the left
Go ahead.
sideline here. I'm just saying that the correct read is zip. Like you're on the left hash, right?
Yeah.
So you look at this wheel route on the left sideline here, and if you go for a velocity throw, then you have it. You know what I mean? It's the closer side of the field, first off, so it's an easier throw. And the safety is not playing as aggressively as this other. Like, if you look down the left sideline and throw it, you already have it. You know what I mean? Versus having to look down the right sideline, which is further away from you. You know, a football field is 52 yards wide. So this throw isn't just a 20-yard throw. You know what I mean? Like, it's working diagonally, too.
I was going to say as well. I mean, yeah, there's that. But I'm looking at this post route, man. And, I mean, I want to say it's a post route. I mean, just hit it, right? Kind of lead him a little bit wider towards open field. But also, this this down marker is actually at the 20. So this is like, this has to be like something in at least 30 or 40. So it's not like he was going to get it. But, I mean, look, if you're under a bad decision, and look, there's a lot to football. I mean, bad snaps, penalties, like, you know, that's a big one. Holding, all that stuff. As a quarterback, I mean, you still got to make the right plays and whatnot. I'm being pretty picky here. Not even gonna lie, because we haven't stopped it until this point here. But, I mean, hey, just hit this post route. I mean, he's not running the best route either. You know, he looks like he's not expecting the ball.
It's kind of lazy.
You know, and that's kind of on him. But he needs to be more ready up there. But, hey, if I'm Austyn, I'm like, yo, let me hit you, like, right here, kind of around midfield right now. Because look at how wide these defenders are. And then if you make a play, you make a play. If not, then whatever. I mean, it's not like we were going to get the first down anyway. So it's just a discipline thing. I mean, when you're getting hit that much, especially Thunder Ridge, I mean, they're a good squad, obviously. That clock in your head starts going a little bit faster than you expect. So that's okay. I mean, it's just one play, though, at least that we see here. So that's 5 minutes, 9 seconds, Kodey. I'm ready to go whenever you are.
Me. Went too far.
Wait, you ready?
No. Okay.
All right, 3, 2, 1, go. Other than that, he makes pretty good decisions. But, I mean, obviously, as a freshman, you'll see some of that.
Let's go ahead and start this video over. Are you fine with that?
I'm at
And
0-0.
then just give it some more chances to pause and rewatch some of the good stuff. Are you ready?
Mm-hmm. Ready? 3, 2, 1, go.
I mean, this first throw, this is a really nice throw. This is against Thunder Ridge as well. Look at that.
I mean, yeah, it's just good timing, and he catches that safety off.
This is really close to the line. That's really close to the line of scrimmage.
I'm not as concerned. You should have pushed it a little bit farther here. I mean, you know, as a quarterback, you know where the line of scrimmage is, or you should, you know. As long as you have a foot behind, you're good.
Now this throw, let's watch this one here at 34 seconds.
Mm-hmm.
So first off, low snap. You're already at a disadvantage here. And I'm pretty sure, I mean, it looked like they were behind basically this entire game, right?
Mm-hmm.
On the bright side, this pocket looks the best that it looks in this entire video. But anyways, I feel like he makes a pre-snap read here to know kind of where the ball needs to go, and he just puts it in the only place where his receiver can catch this. Look at where the defenders are, you know, and look at where the ball is for this receiver to make this catch. I mean, if you pause it at 37 seconds, that is just, it doesn't get much better than that. You know what I mean? And then the receiver is able to touch the feet down, which is fine and cool. But also, like, this safety is so far away on this throw that getting hit is not really a big danger. And this has to be a pre-snap read, because look how far away the corner is, look how far away the safety is, and look how quickly this ball is, like, I'll say quickly in, like, the decision-making part of delivery, but the release does take kind of a second, which you could attribute to the low snap too, but he kind of lumbers this throw a little bit. So a little bit of good, well, a lot of good on this throw, and just a little bit of critique. Simon, you have anything else to add on to this throw here?
Yeah, I'm happy with it. I mean, here's I'm like looking at this. It's definitely a pre-snap read, but I think this safety would definitely be paying a little bit more attention if the ball wasn't fumbled in the backfield here. because I think him kind of looking down and having to readjust and get all that kind of made that safety not play as tight to that zone as he probably could have been, because he kind of lofts it up here, and I think he's trying to aim for like maybe the back of the end zone here, or at least just farther, more deeper than where this safety is, because this safety is just lacking. And then I assume this is the corner that was behind, or maybe this is the corner. Either way,
it might have been like a cover 2 look.
Well, honestly, neither of them are doing a good job, if I'm being completely honest with you. But I mean, this is just good awareness. It has to be a pre-snap read, and then obviously kudos to the receiver to just going up and getting it. So I'm not as mad. He was aiming for the back of the end zone. When things are kind of crazy and something's outside of your control as a quarterback happens and you're in the red zone, in my opinion, it's never a bad thing to kind of just aim for that back of the end zone, because at the worst you throw it out, right? So there you go. But I'm not mad at it. It's a good placement, and it's just a good heads-up play here. But look, if that snap is on time, though, you got to look that safety off, because like I said, he's only playing off because his eyes are somewhere else. So I'm just going to say that right there. But good play. So yeah. 39 seconds. Ready?
Yep.
3, 2, 1, go. Yeah, I don't know what's going on.
This is a good time to judge throw on the run here.
I don't know what's going on with his center, but he's not doing his job. It's some of these clips. I'm just going to be real.
That's sweet. I like this throw here. Let's watch this one. This is one of my favorite plays. Also because I'm a Nick Stone truther, but right here at 54 seconds. Because he looks right first. Notice that? Notice that quick glance right? Yeah. And I think that pushes this linebacker, number 45, that way pretty hard. Like, he looks panicked.
You mean the guy with the red sleeves here, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He looks panicked. And then I think he looks at another receiver further towards the left. Because just look at his head. It's right, left, and then comes back slightly right here for this nice throw to Stone that just has good touch. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know if I love a bullet here, and I don't know if I don't like more touch here. But looking right helps move that initial red sleeve linebacker, right? And then I think that the look left pushes 32. Like, look, 32 glances to his right, so Austyn's left here. And that gives Austyn just the window here to push this ball to Nick, who, I mean, you love getting the ball to Nick in the middle of the field because, I mean, look what he does next. Later. You know what I mean? So this is a really sweet play for a variety of reasons, and I think that part of it is him being able to move the defense with his head on this play, which you see just very, very well. I love this play a lot. I love this play.
No, I do too. I mean, he's moving defenders with his eyes. I'm gonna also critique Castleview a little bit here. This is bad zone play. I mean, their bodies are completely turned towards the receivers, which means that they don't trust each other, which is not good. Which leaves a wide open gap here that the safety has to clean up. But if the middle linebackers are playing tight here, then they kind of take away that look. Maybe Austyn still tries to fit it in there, but at least they're in a position to contest it. Regardless, though, this is a good job by Austyn. I mean, looking right. He's really just looking right and then left. And then both of these linebackers just part like the Red Sea here because, I mean, he's probably got them before, and so... And then just a great throw, too. Way to deliver it. I mean, that's a hard throw to make. If it's underthrown, I mean, obviously it's incomplete. Maybe a pick. I mean, this linebacker is looking at it. If it's overthrown...
it's a pick, too.
Yeah, honestly. Probably. Even slightly overthrown. I mean, if it's overthrown, then it's probably incomplete because the safety's playing kind of close here. But, I mean, if it's... look, it's just great accuracy. Good timing, too. I mean, this is some... high level of stuff. There's senior quarterbacks that don't do that at all. From this year and last year. And that's why they're where they're at right now. So, alright, I'm at 58 seconds. Ready?
You're at 58 seconds?
That's like near the end of the play here. Call it a minute.
Okay, 1 minute.
All right, 3, 2, 1, go.
Nick Stone putting in work. Shout out to.
All right, I'm gonna
Shout out
start grading here.
All right, back to Cherry Creek here. Instant pressure, steps up and great pocket movement. Nice throw on the run too. That's sweet.
Quick little
That's
throw.
sweet. Yeah, I have my rubric going, so now I just need to up some things. Way to set your feet, but like you said, a little under
Gotta
throw.
push it, yeah.
Yeah.
Jeez, his accuracy. He could fit into some tight spots over the middle. Ooh.
That receiver's wide open.
Yes.
Oh, way to duck in. Holy cow. His awareness. It's good.
Oh, it's next level.
Underthrown there. Timing's not great.
So I'm watching this over, he could obviously throw with good timing, and I'm wondering if some of the bad timing throws are just decision stuff, because that's kind of where I'm at. Like, he's taking too long to make a decision here or there, and so that's kind of where I'm at right now, and so I'm probably going to dig that a little bit more than timing, because I've seen this dude just straight up set and throw, and he does well, but then you put some defenders in his face. And as this goes for any football player, especially young ones like this young freshman here in Austyn. I mean, things change, and your decision making is not as sharp when you're under stress. So that's why you just gotta do your homework and make sure you stay on top of it, and even when you're dull, you're sharp.
That's a good quote right there. That should be your next Insta caption, Coach V.
Yeah, it should be, huh? I'm feeling like in the short amount of film that we're watching too, like I'm just feeling him as a passer. Like
I like his poise heading forward.
Yes.
But he definitely has a lot to work on.
I wouldn't say a lot. I mean, he's a young quarterback, So, like, this is kind of where I would expect him to be at, especially in the decision-making aspect of things. I mean, if he's just setting and throwing, like, he's pretty solid,
Yeah, I think that with a quick passing game, that he could really excel, and then just when the defense gives him the chance, he could take those big shots over the middle. I mean, Vista really spreads it out for him. When Mason and I went and watched with the other quarterback, they ran like wing T basically with the other quarterback. So that just comes to show you how much confidence they have in Austyn versus, oh yeah, that throw to that outside shoulder is not as close as it looks.
Yeah.
That looks a lot closer. That's a sweet throw.
Yeah.
I like the timing on that.
It just takes some watching over, honestly.
Yep.
Yeah, I think his pocket movement's going to be pretty high up there for me. It's going to be higher than any of the seniors for sure, at least from this year. Yeah.
What's going on here?
He's 6'3", 185 too. I mean, obviously, I don't think he's that in this film.
Oh, his frame is great.
But we've seen him in person. He's built.
He's legit.
To say the least.
Well, I gave his frame some bonus points too because of the beating that he takes on this film. And the fact that he was able to continually play so many snaps. Simon, do you want to play these legacy highlights? Minute 16?
Wait, what?
I mean, this is his 6th touchdown game.
What do you mean? Oh, you mean on the subtle? Yeah, one
yeah.
sec. Let me pull that up here. We'll watch some of this.
Add.
we'll wait for the ad to go, and then we'll watch some of this.
Yeah, I mean, look, this is his premiere game, so this is where his best film is going to be at. And then we can kind of talk about where we finally stand. I'm pretty close to my final grade here.
I am too.
Oh, did you already hit play?
Mm-hmm. Oh,
Wow.
Sorry.
I
I'm
see how
at
it is.
17 seconds.
Oh my lord, what's happening to me? Yeah, because we saw this touchdown. Oh my lord, what is happening? Okay,
Are you good? Do you want me to
Yeah.
stop?
we're okay. Just 3.
Wait, no, where are we at?
Oh wait, no. Oh, I thought you were saying we're gonna meet up at 17 seconds.
All right, we're at 17 seconds. Ready? 3, 2, 1,
Okay.
go.
This throw, yep, wide open. Oh, that looked like a legit RPO, honestly, which is great for decision making.
Ooh.
It's a nice fade. That's as close as it
Yeah.
gets. Notice how they're not throwing to that Braden Keith side, but
I may be overrating him just slightly here, but I do like what I see. So I'm just gonna say that.
his pump fake needs some work. It's not fooling anybody when he pump fakes.
Ooh, interesting.
And I
Okay.
think part of that is because his windup is so long that, like, but you know how I feel about the hitch and throwing. It's just like you can't really great pump fakes when your arm really does a full 360 rotation. You know what I mean?
Hey, are you good? Are you there?
Yeah. What?
No, you were a little robot-y there. But no, I get what you're saying. I mean, his throwing motion could be a little bit smoother, maybe a little bit faster, if I'm being honest with you. But, okay, I have my grades. Do you want to just talk about it and get it going here?
Yes.
Okay, I'm going to keep this highlight reel playing in the background here. Let's start with arm power, arm accuracy. I'm very high on it. I think he's going to get stronger and whatnot. Not that he has a weak arm, but there are definitely times where it's like, hey, just push it a little bit farther here downfield. Like, really make your receivers work for it. If it's overthrown, I'd rather have that than underthrown, obviously. And just looking on some of these touchdown throws, it's like, you could do a little bit better. Especially that throw on the run. And so there's definitely going to be some stuff taken off. But regardless, I mean, he could fit into some pretty tight spots. Arm power-wise, I'm giving him an 8 point... You know what? I'm giving him an 8.6. I think he could definitely get up to a 9 for sure here, you know. But not bad. 8.6 for now. I mean, for a freshman, that's obviously really good. A lot of that, like I said, coming on some of these deep throws. I need him to push it a little bit farther, and then his throw on the run. I mean, it's like, look, obviously throwing on the run is never a smooth... Oh. Okay, never mind. Kodey, you there? You good?
Yes, I can hear you now.
Okay, bet. Obviously, throwing on the run is never like a smooth throwing motion and whatnot. For a lot of quarterbacks, it's awkward, and that's fine, you know. But eventually, you just gotta embrace the awkwardness when it comes to throwing on the run and find what works best for you. What gets the ball there, right? And I think just watching him throw on the run, he is not as comfortable throwing it deep, and that's fine, you know. But it could be better. I'd like to see a little bit more power on that throw on the run. And so arm power is at an 8.6. Accuracy, though, there are times where he could really put it on the money. I mean, just watching through this film, seeing him throw live, he is very accurate. Like, when he gets to set and throw, like, he will kill a team because he's so accurate, you know. He can fit into wherever he wants to fit it into, you know. And, I mean, he puts his receivers in positions to make plays, to score, you know. And that's kind of what I like to see. So I'm giving him an 8.8 here. Before I move on, Kodey, what are your grades for Austyn, and what's your reasoning?
This is our biggest disparity yet on a live stream.
Okay, that's fine.
His arm just looks really weak to me sometimes. I can't.
Well, on what throws?
the throws on the sidelines specifically. The way that he struggles with that, I think that with most of the other quarterbacks that we've looked at, that they're able to push it down the sideline. But, once he's throwing to that wide side of the field, it does look a little bit harder. Not to mention that there's not really any throws on here where I'm like, oh, he really had some mustard on there. You know what I mean? Where he just looks like he has a lot of touch passes, and maybe he just overutilizes touch on his passes. That could be possible. But his arm power, I think, needs a lot of work. And so I gave it a 4.8, which is like, it's average is kind of where I see it at right now. But I think that it needs a lot of work on velocity mainly. And it does just look bad to me sometimes, where it's just like, oh my gosh, what is that throw? But the upside is there, I think. And I as noted on our scale here, it will suffice for the time being, but it could be a problem if he does not address it, I think. His accuracy, however, I did rate pretty high. I gave him a 7.8. He just makes some really wow throws, I think, where it's just like, okay, that is on the money, especially on some of those medium kind of routes. He does flex some, you know what? Actually, I'm going to bump this up here to like an 8.4, I think is more accurate here for, what he's able to do kind of over the middle and these crossing routes that a lot of quarterbacks, I think, kind of struggle with. And I think what you were saying about it's more his, kind of like decision making. Like if he sees the throw sooner, then the throw is going to be where it needs to be, kind of. And so that's why I think that his arm accuracy, I think it's there. And any of these passes that may seem thrown a little bit behind, I think that's more on not seeing it or not deciding on that throw soon enough, is what I will say. But that back shoulder, or that throw towards the outside shoulder throw, that's what I'm talking about when I'm saying that his accuracy is very good. 3-star talent kind of accuracy on throws like that.
I'm going to be honest, I might need to defend his arm power here, because there are definitely times he just rips it, especially into tight spots. I don't think it's timing, per se, just because, he has solid timing, but, there are just times where, his line is not doing him any favors, and he needs to get the ball out, and he does, and so, I get what you're saying on some of these, deeper, farther throws, but for me, that's not enough to drop him below a 6 or 7, in my opinion. But that's just where I'm at. Arm accuracy-wise, I like it a lot. I think a lot of the variety, I guess, of where where the placement of the ball is sometimes is due to his line. If he was playing behind Palmer Ridge's line, he wouldn't miss. His arm accuracy would be right here where it's at. Because, we've seen him throw in person. Obviously, there's no pressure there outside of, your internal clock and whatnot. But, it's obviously still different. But when he is setting and throwing, he's ripping it into tight spots. And he's getting it there and he's doing his thing, And so I'm giving him a little bit more credit here. And that's definitely a little bit more of a slight, to his line, which isn't anything personal, but it's look, it's bad snaps like this one. It's no one blocking the edge rushers. It's inside linebackers getting way too much penetration. It's a lot of things there. And so that, in my opinion, affects arm power and arm accuracy, at least just looking at this, because it's just situational, And so that's what I'm going to hold it to for now, because I've seen him throw in person, and I know he could rip it into some tight spots, even when it is good defense. Because playing against the Ducks, they made Team Full Gorillas struggle at times as well, especially in the end zone. That's kind of just what they do. They'll let a lot of yards, I'm not even going to lie, up and down the field. But when it comes to the red zone and it's a little bit more compact, they definitely lock up. Part of it is because they're mostly made up of linebackers, it feels like, as well. And they're good linebackers. So that's kind of where I'm at. And so I am going to kind of stick here with my ratings, and we'll just keep it going. Timing on throws and giving him an 8.3, like I said, that's a little bit more situational. It's good at times. It's not as good at times. I think it's definitely more the reason why that timing could be a little bit off at times is because he has a lot of pressure in his face. You know, and it's not like he could wait, like, you know, just throw the check down all the time either. He's not waiting a long time to throw the ball. It's just, there's just no time, you know, and when you are in that kind of situation, there's not too much you can do except for try to get the ball off, you know, get it to your receiver. If it's not there, then it's not there. But, if there's a sliver, if there's an opening, you got to put it on the money. And so that's kind of where I'm at with timing. Here, I'll give him an 8 just flat, just because it could be a little bit better. I'd like to see more consistency there. Overall mechanics and fluidity, I like the lower body. Just looking at it right here, you know, he does a really good job of just like making sure his feet are set and he's throwing so that he could get as much as he wants on it, especially when he's throwing on the run or rolling out or evading pressure, you know. And so that's kind of where I'm at with overall mechanics. The upper body part is a little you know, concerning, you know, not too concerning. When I watch Austyn Modrzewski throw, and I watched him throw for the first time live at Team Full Gorilla tryouts, I said he looked a lot like Luke McAllister. Height-wise, throwing motion-wise. I think a lot of people agreed with that as well. Just looking at his throwing motion and whatnot. Look up Luke McAllister's highlights from Palmer Ridge, you know, class of 2021. I think they are almost identical here, which, you know, they have some of the same quarterback coaches. I think they both work with Jenkins and whatnot. Obviously, Austyn, he's with Jenkins, but he's also with EPO. Shout out to our guys over there who also coach Beckham Kritz and DJ Bordeaux. But I just see a lot of the same, you know, mechanics there. And, look, that hitch is why he's not at, like, a higher rating. Honestly, it's an 8.2 is probably a little bit generous here. I'll bump it down to an 8 flat here. And then, last but not least, I think this will justify some of my ratings here. Decision making, I'm giving him a 5.5, maybe even a little bit lower here. Look, I get it. As a freshman, you know, there's some things you got to learn. But also, because you're a freshman, there are just some things you're not going to know until you experience it. And that is fine. That is okay. You know, as long as you learn from it is the biggest thing here. And so for now, I got to give him a 5.5. There are times where I feel like he is holding on to the ball too long, especially, and you can kind of see this, especially when he's hunting for a touchdown. You could see him hold on to the ball a little bit too long here, miss a window or two, because he's so transfixed on a receiver when he's in this end zone, red zone situation. And so if I'm a DC and I'm trying to defend Austyn, I'm like, hey, look, you know, here are his, you know, primary receivers. Let's double team them and make him go to his 4th and 5th read here, if it's there, you know. And if it's not there, then he's going to try to force it there anyways, make a really good throw. And, you know, all we could do is put y'all in position. Y'all got to defend the pass. You know, that's a 1-on-1, 2-on-1 type of stitch. And so if I'm a DC, that's what I'm looking at there. You know, just because, honestly, when he's in the red zone, there are just times where I know he's trying to get that touchdown. And every quarterback is trying to score, you know, when they're in the red zone. But, you know, sometimes the best decisions you can make on offense helps everyone, you know, not just you and your receivers, but, you know, it puts your offense in a position to maybe run the ball in, get you on the 2 or something like that. But I'd rather have that than force it into some of these situations, because you could definitely tell when it's like 20 yards or less, he's like transfixed. And you got to work on that. You know, that's a habit you got to break. And a lot of quarterbacks have in Colorado, honestly. Not just him. You know, not just young quarterbacks. I see a lot of seniors do this. Oh, too many times. But that's where I'm at. Kodey, does that make sense to you here? I'm giving him pretty high ratings in these first couple categories, but that decision-making just needs to get better. I'm even going to drop it down to, I'm sorry, Austyn, but I have to. Just a 5 for now, you know. So, yeah, but what do you think about that? Plus, what were your ratings for those last couple categories?
Our decision-making is exactly the same, and initially after watching this film, my decision-making was a lot lower, though. I had him at like a 4.4, but then I thought about what I've been seeing or what I saw at the ambush versus duck scrimmage, and what I saw there was him taking a lot of those short passes and kind of taking that death by paper cuts kind of approach for a couple of those drives against the Ducks. And I thought that he was hitting his swing routes, he was hitting those bubbles, those quick outs, those quick slants. You know, he was willing to take some of those shorter throws, and that's why it kind of built him up to this 5. Also, he threw more touchdowns than interceptions, so I want to give him a little bit of credit there. I feel like that's like the medium point is right there at that 5, where it's just like sometimes he makes really good decisions, but I don't want to give it too high of a grade before seeing it in a padded game. And once again, my grades were not as high as yours, but I still think that they're solid. And it comes down to consistency for me is kind of where I draw a lot of these lines. Where his timing on throws, I gave a 6, and you even talked me up on that one a little bit because sometimes his timing is very, very good. It's very, very good. Like you said, the line does impact this, but just timing is timing. Whether you're throwing off your back foot or not, or whether you roll out, plant, and then, kind of underthrow a route a little bit here. And that's where I kind of ping him a little bit again, is I think that, sometimes his receivers are reaching behind them, and I think that, whether that's because he feels the pressure from the defense, at the end of the day, it's a timing thing. And I do want to see what does happen when he is provided with some more protection, but for now, I got to put it at a 6. I can't bring myself to bring it much higher without seeing just more of it. On top of that, I did give his overall mechanics a 6.2 because I love that when he is rolling out, he does try and plant whenever possible. And I do think that, part of his mechanics and his footwork is very, very good, but that hitch, I think that it loses him a lot of time. I think that it's improving. I think that his speed and his release is on the come up based off of what I've seen this offseason. But all of this work is without shoulder pads on, so that's why I'm skeptical to raise it too much with that hitch. Simon, you might be on the defending side for a little bit here until we get to the pocket stuff, because that's when I first really give him pretty high, A-worthy grades. Because these next few categories here of scramble ability and throw on the run, once again, I just don't think that there's a lot of volume to these. And, the glimpses that I do see, I do want to give good grades with. But consistency goes a long way, which is not something that Austyn really had the luxury of this season. I will admit that he did not have, the ability to kind of develop that consistency and develop that, rhythm because he wasn't the full-time starter. But it is something that I can't necessarily, I won't do gimme points because he wasn't afforded that luxury, if that makes sense.
I mean, that's fine. That's fine. It is what it is. I'll talk about ways to earn those points, Austyn here in a little bit here, because there are definitely, I'm just looking through the film again, there are definitely times and probably situations where he could take off some of that heat and buy himself more time. Because, is Mountain Vista really going to out-recruit Highlands Ranch and Thunder Ridge for linemen? Let's just be real.
Depends on the year, I guess, but
no, let's just be real. No, there's linemen in these areas that are very good, and so
Rock Canyon.
Yes, Rock Canyon too. So, it's not going to be easy, and I don't think you should be blaming your lineman either. Even though, I'm giving him, a little bit more credit and saying, his lineman play could be better. As a quarterback, obviously, you never go around blaming your lineman. You work with what you get, and then you get better from there. But as a grader, I'm going to keep that in mind and be like, I'm not going to, he's not like a college or what am I saying? He's not a college prospect because, his line doesn't help him out. There are plenty of quarterbacks that don't have a line that are much better than where they're at, but I feel like they're unfairly graded. And then you have some of these guys in California who have, a million linemen on their squad and whatnot that could all start on the D2, D1, D3 level that are overrated by a lot. So, that's kind of where I'm coming from with there. But, look here, let's just keep it going here. Decision-making, we're on the same page. Scramble ability, he's not a dual threat.
He's not a scrambler. I gave it a 3.6, which may be harsh. But
Okay.
it's just not a part of his game. That's why I have it at 3.6 because he can move. He's not like a statue back there, but it's just like a 4 means that you can scramble from time to time, and he'd much rather just throw the ball, which is fine.
Well, yeah.
But until, I mean, he didn't even rush for a single touchdown this season, so I can't really give it a 4.
Yeah, I mean, look, you're a quarterback. You're not a running back. So for me, it's not as big of a deal. I give him a 4.5. I mean, he could definitely move around a bit and whatnot. I think, like I said, he's probably more comparable to Luke McAllister. Like, he could move around and he could run a little bit, but it's not like he's the greatest athlete in the, like, naturally gifted, the greatest athlete in the world, like, with 4.4 speed and a great shuttle time and all that stuff. And honestly, who cares? I mean, your job is to move your offense down the field. So, as long as you're doing that, you're fine. There's multiple ways to play quarterback, but we're on the same page there. On the runability, he throws some good dots in the short, especially in the short game. I'm very impressed with that. Medium, it's probably hit or miss from time to time throwing the run. Deep, no, probably not. No, so I'm gonna probably ding him just a little bit here. I'm giving him a solid 6.5. Like I said, when it's short, like if it's like 5 or 10 yards and you need to get first down, he can fit into some pretty good spots, especially when he's doing this thing like he's doing here, like just making a defender miss and just getting it off. He puts it on the money, and those are usually, I mean, look, if you're an outsider and you're watching it, you're like, oh, those short passes, those should be gimme throws. They're not always gimme throws, especially when you're twisting around and having to reset and then having to twist around and then reset again. Like, it happens, there are a lot of players who can't make some of these passes. And so, for that, I'm giving him a 6.5 there. And then I'll let you talk about that real quick before we go into pocket awareness and movement if you want to talk about that as well. But what was your thought on the runability? What do you think about that?
I gave it a 5.7, which is good. The flashes once again are there. Like you said, the short game. I mean, those throw on the runs against Creek, where I mean he was running for his life that entire game. It looked like, he does deliver some strikes, but once it gets a little bit further, once it gets a little bit harder, then it's hard to just give him. I mean, look, if he puts that one throw where he's rolling out right, if he puts that throw in front of the receiver and the receiver scores on there, we might be talking about like a 7 here. We're talking that big of a swing to be able to push it downfield while on the run like that. But I don't necessarily blame him. It's not really a part of his game. Austyn is a big-time pocket quarterback. And that's how this offense is going to be ran. That's how it was ran for this Ducks versus ambush scrimmage, where, rollouts designed kind of rollouts, you know what I mean? But for the most part, I think that a quick hitter kind of offense is going to accentuate a lot of things about Austyn and open up a lot of doors. But when he does have to hold on to the ball and when he does have to manipulate this collapsing pocket this past year, this is where, and I might have gotten a little high on these, but I think that his ability to sense pressure in the pocket and manipulate the pocket, I think it's elite. I'm going to say, Simon said, oh, maybe it's an overreaction. No, it's elite. I gave his pocket movement, or his pocket awareness, a 9.1, because there's just some pressure that he literally cannot see, but he feels so well. And that was higher than any other pocket awareness from the senior class that I've graded so far. And I gave his pocket movement a 9. I think that he shows the ability to step up in the pocket, to move the pocket left or right. I think that he shows a great ability to, not like take huge lunges forward in the pocket, but really just take a quick, simple little dip step and deliver a strike. I think that he can move backwards and let the pressure move past him. Or, I think that his ability to manipulate the pocket is A1 sauce, and that's why he gets an A in both these categories from me. Not to mention, I gave his frame/size at 8.5, which is one of the higher grades of frame that I've given, simply because, look, he's already 6'3", 185 pounds, but, he takes a pounding in these clips, and he survived. You know what? Actually, I'm going to give his frame/size like a 8.7. I wanted to do 8, but I'm going to go 8.7, just because, he takes some serious hits in these videos, and he continued to drop back and stick in there and hang tough. And toughness is a part of frame and size. It's kind of like that. Frame and size is where that kind of like injury X factor kind of chips in. And Austyn, I mean, I feel like he was smaller against like this Creek squad, and still, hung in there and had plenty of dropbacks in this game. I am going to give it an 8.8. I've decided this frame is an 8.8.
All
right. I mean, seriously, you see some of the hits that this guy takes, and it's like, I can't believe that, he goes back out, and then, he didn't have the best game, but I'll be damned if he didn't, deliver some strikes during that game against Creek. So.
Fair. I'm basically with you. Gave him a 9 pocket awareness. What'd you give him for pocket movement again, bro?
I gave his movement a 9 and his awareness a 9.1.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so we're not far. I gave him a 9 for pocket awareness, 8.9 for pocket movement. Could be a little bit faster. Looks a little stiff at times. He's still moving better than most quarterbacks, pretty much all quarterbacks in the state as far as pocket movement goes, but could be a little bit faster there. There's room for improvement always. So 8.9. Frame and size, I mean, he's about as big as DJ Bordeaux. I gave DJ an 8.7, so I'm giving Austyn an 8.7 here. Yeah, I mean, I would say toughness would go under decision making for me personally. I mean, where you gotta deliver the ball. Are you gonna do it or not? Right? That's what it comes down to, and he does. And so he probably deserves a little bit more credit there. But I think a 5 is appropriate there for now. So my overall grade, Kodey, was a 76 flat. What is yours?
Mine's a 66.6.
Okay.
Don't read into that, viewers and listeners. But anyways, because, okay, and here's the thing. I'm a pretty tough grader here. And I feel like he's one step away from being in this, top 5 kind of, like the fact that he's rated pretty close to some of these senior quarterbacks that I looked at. I think that's very promising. I'm grading him really hard because I know that he could do better, and I know that he's going to do better. And so I like this as a baseline here because looking to the future, I mean, I just don't think he athletically has some of the same tools of quarterbacks that we have looked at. He doesn't have the Blake Palladino arm. He doesn't have, the Beckham Kritza arm and that kind of, offense and system going for him. But Mountain Vista has faith in him. And I also have faith in him, and I think that from what I've seen in this offseason, that he's only going to get dramatically better. His weapons are going to get better, mind you. They are graduating Nick Stone, but don't let that scare you because once Austyn, kind of settles in, they have some talent coming in that freshman class as well, that I think this Vista team is going to be able to score a lot of points. And I think that his scramble ability will not matter because I think he's just going to be able to dice open defenses and more attempts, more rhythm, more chemistry, and actually being provided the starting job from the start of the season. I think that's going to make a huge difference in his film evaluation for his sophomore year. So, Austyn, it's tough love is basically what I'm saying, but it's not out of doubt, if that makes sense.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, no, yeah, for sure. That's fair. Look, I'm giving a 75.9. I truly believe that's where he's at right now. Comparatively, if you're looking at Beckham Kritza, because he's the other freshman, big-time freshman here on the 5A level that did his thing. Beckham, I gave him a 75 flat. So I do think Austyn does some things that are a little bit better than Beckham, in my opinion. I think, personally, Austyn has a stronger arm when it comes to fitting it into tighter spots. I think he just has the ability to really rip it and get it up in there. Beckham, there are times where, it floats a little bit in that short and medium. But then after that, you kind of have accuracy downfield and whatnot. Obviously, there's some differences there. And then you have timing. I mean, timing is a big one. That's one that I think Austyn has over Beckham. But we're not here to compare the two. I mean, look, Austyn Modrzewski, I think he's somebody that, wasn't in the greatest situation for the majority of the season. Let's just call it how it is. He had 4 or 5 games where he was truly starting out of 11. that's the majority of the season, right? I think it does make a difference when you play quarterbacks, especially young ones, and stick with them throughout the season rather than switching them in and out. I think that's hard, and I get it. You want to compete and whatnot, but when you're running almost totally different offenses too, Kodey, you said the other quarterback ran a wing tee. Austyn obviously ran more of a spread, air raid type of look here. That's hard on the entire offense because those are two different systems that the offense needs to learn. It sounds like whole systems as well, which sucks. Like, I'm just gonna be real, that sucks. And so for Austyn here, for him to really kind of light it up here near the end of the season and earn that starting job, obviously, first off, congrats for earning that job. You earned that in practice, but for him to do that and really just get on fire here. Look, his last 4 games here. Last 4 games, 360 yards, 245, 317, and then against Creek, 157. That was his lowest. But in that 4-game span, he threw for 13 touchdowns. Granted, 5 interceptions. That's where a lot of those interceptions came in. But 13 to 5, you're averaging roughly in that 270, 280-yard range. That's pretty good for somebody who was going in and out with the other guy, and so I'm giving him a lot more credit here. That's a tough situation to step into. And it's also a tough situation to step into when your line isn't, just giving you help. I just got to see him, just stand and throw. And I think that really made the difference for me just watching him. And I get it, it's sevens and whatnot, it's not Pats. I understand that. But as a quarterback, you can either throw it or you can't. He could throw it. I think there are a lot of balls that he throws that, just simply other quarterbacks in the state can't throw right now. And obviously other quarterbacks in the state, 8'6", 185, and doing some of the things he does against 5A competition. And so, that's kind of where I'm giving him the credit here. Now, here's the thing. As a quarterback, you can't decide your line unless you're in the pros or even on the college level. On the college level, maybe you could convince some other recruits to come to your school. But even then, as a quarterback, look, you can't control your line. They can only do so much and whatnot. I think as far as lineman blocking responsibilities goes, as a quarterback, know your blocking schemes, right? If you gotta recognize blitzes and whatnot, usually that's the center's job to do. But as a quarterback, I would say it's also your responsibility to know what blitzes and looks are coming at you. That's probably the extent of it. Let your blockers know and let them block. Other than that, you gotta put your team in situations to score, regardless of what you're working with. And so with Austyn here, he has some lower grades for decision making and stuff like that. I think he's going to get smarter, more mature as a passer. He's a freshman, so that's inevitable. But I think to really combat some of the situations we talked about, situations where he's absolutely getting hammered or he's staring down receivers in the end zone, I would say, hey, learn to be dangerous against the blitz. Something that separates Joe Burrow from every other quarterback, Joe Burrow from Justin Herbert, for example, is that, in my opinion, Joe Burrow is a smarter quarterback than Justin Herbert, and it's not close. It's always been that way, in my opinion. You watch the way Joe Burrow plays, some guys will be like, oh, it's a swagger, it's Joe Shiesty, he's just balling out. Obviously, he has weapons, and Jefferson and Clyde Edwards-Helaire. I'm talking about in college. And then, obviously, going into the pros, you have Jamar Chase follow you, all these guys, Fine, that's great. There's all of that. But the thing that separates Joe Burrow, who is arguably a worse athlete, significantly worse of an athlete, from Justin Herbert, who's like 6'6", 240, runs like a 4.5, could launch at 100 yards down the field. The thing that separates him is that Joe Burrow is so much better in pre-snap reads. And even when things are coming apart, when it looks like it's coming apart, really Joe Burrow's winning. Something that Joe Burrow did say earlier in the season was like, hey, blitz me, see what happens. Blitz me, see what happens. When teams blitz you, Austyn, you got to take that as a present. When teams blitz you, they're doing the wrong thing. Is what they should be in when you're on your game. And so to improve on this next level here, you got to make him pay on with when teams blitz you, because some of these teams are blitzing and sending more than 4 or 5, and that's where they really get to him, and that's fine, and I think part of that is just him not recognizing it and just being like, hey, I'm just going to brute force this thing and just stay tough in the pocket, deliver the throw. That's fine, that's great, but that's not always going to work. Sometimes you got to recognize it's a blitz, and then from there, you're basically looking at hot routes and looking at reads, and I mean, you got to know who you got to go to, and if that person isn't open, especially your primary receivers, I'm talking Ja'Kai Mack, I'm talking Japri Jennings, who's going to be there at Mountain Vista this next year. When those guys aren't available, look at your running backs and tight ends and other receivers to get open, as in manipulate the defense of the coverage and look your receivers open there. And so I think that's the next level for Austyn Modrzewski here. Like, just really, really become somebody that wants to get blitzed. When teams blitz you, they should be scared. You should have them in a situation and mindset where they would rather drop 8, 9, whatever into coverage than blitz you. Once you start doing that, then that takes off some of the pressure. You're not having a million dudes in your face. They're rushing 2 or 3. Your line should be able to handle 2 or 3 or 4, and then from there, that's where you go to work. So if I'm Austyn here, like I said, you can't control your linemen, how much work they're putting in the offseason. Obviously, you can hold them accountable, but still, even that doesn't mean anything. The best thing you could do is make teams pay when they blitz you, and help out your linemen as well. So that means looking at short routes, knowing your hot routes, looking receivers open, that kind of stuff. That's next level stuff. But here's the thing: we saw him do some of that. We saw him move those two move those two castle view quarterbacks with his eyes, and so he has the ability to do this, and he also has the mental awareness and the IQ to do this as well. But we're talking about trying to get to the next level here. So that's kind of where I'm at, Kodey. What do you think about that? I'm trying to make it as simple as possible. But at the end of the day, if they blitz you, that's a mistake. That's a person they're taking off a receiver.
Yeah, I agree. I think that, obviously the pass rush and the line was tough this year. But I didn't really throw him that bone. I think is a huge difference in these grades, and I think it's because I've seen quarterbacks, do a lot of these things correctly while facing immense pressure. And just like you said with Joe Burrow and stuff, I think that there's obviously the opportunity to do such thing and to exploit. Granted, some of these rushes get by with 4 or 3 guys too sometimes, so that's got to be fixed. But you got to be able to, get into your quick rhythm game, which I think that he's showing us promise with. And, I think that there's a lot to look out for, just in this league here with these Highlands Ranch teams moving forward. I think it's going to be very interesting for these next few years.
Yeah, for sure. We'll see. Look, we talked about it. We talked about this Highlands Ranch maybe not league, but more like community and whatnot. It's wide open, right? And so, you have Valor. Our opinions about Valor. Their coach is taking a job in my hometown, so he's out of there. You have DJ Bordeaux and Thunder Ridge, high key a lot like Richard Okuno and Caden Schaus in Thunder Ridge, to be honest with you. And so it's going to be a battle, but honestly, you want to go up against the best competition. I think Austyn, he's going to get tested, I'm just going to kind of float this prediction out here. If he has a slow start as the starter to his sophomore year, look, I think that's part of growing and whatnot. As teams get more film on you, especially starting film and whatnot, they're gonna adjust. And so for Austyn here, he just has to be a step ahead and recognize that and not get frustrated. Because I think a lot of young quarterbacks sometimes, they get frustrated with that process of growing, and it makes things worse. And so you got to accept that other teams are just gonna adjust. And so for that to happen, you got to be on your game as well. Which honestly, watching his teammates, that ambush team, play, I was impressed. They were very much on the page, and also congrats to them. I think they won a tournament down in Texas as well, so that's a good thing. But you wanna add levels to this. Don't settle to be a 3-read quarterback. 2 or 3 read quarterbacks barely make it past college, or barely make it to college. You gotta be comfortable going 5 or 6 reads deep, or at least knowing that those reads are there. So there you go. That's the expectation. That's where he's at. He's not going to be the starter at Mountain Vista, so there's not too much of an outlook here. But, right now, like I said, 75.9. I think I dinged him just a little bit here in my final grade. So 75.9. He's about a 3-star guy. Reminds me a lot of Luke McAllister, like I said. But he could definitely do some things a little bit better than McAllister because of how, early he's starting and how much time he has. McAllister started as a sophomore, I want to say. So you have a year ahead of him, so you should be better, in my opinion. So, yeah. Any last words, Kodey, before we move on to our other freshman quarterback here?
No, I think I'm ready to transition. Obviously, shout out Austyn and his support for Playmakers Corner. Obviously, we appreciate you and hope that you have some takeaways from this. Just push that ball downfield, baby, and that'll be great. But talking about freshman quarterbacks on the 5A level here, we're gonna jump into Alex Birch. He, according to his Twitter, is 5'10", 160 pounds. All conference quarterback here, and looking through some of these games here, he did get the entire season to start. He did hit some road bumps. It was kind of an up and down season, but ultimately, ended on an upset win, I would say, over a league rival, and that's something that you can be really, really happy about. And even in some of these games where they lost, he didn't necessarily perform bad, but definitely a roller coaster of a season. Starting off with his first start against Rock Canyon. This is a team that, made the playoffs and even won in the first round. And in his first start, he went 13 to 24 for 143 yards, a touchdown, and a pick. That's a pretty, I'd say, expected start for most freshmen in their first start in high school ball. And then in the very next week, he shows significant signs of improvement, I would say, against a Rangeview team. And, that has solid athletes in the secondary. And he still found a way to carve them up, going 14 of 25 for 160 yards and 2 scores. He was pretty silent in this Arvada West game. Arvada West, when their quarterback was healthy, I'd say that they were a contender. So there's that, but he didn't throw any picks in this game, so take what you will from that. Then against Boulder, this is the debut that Beckham Kritza got to experience, and I'm sure that, Alex Birch was pretty happy about this because he also put together a magnificent game against Boulder, throwing 4 touchdowns to 1 interception. This is one of his better performances of the entire year, and, the second time that he got to go over 100 in QBR, but a really good TD to INT ratio. And then immediately after that, he goes into the buzzsaw that is the Grandview defense and struggles mightily. This may play a factor in some points later because, look, Grandview's a really, really tough defense, but 6 of 13 for 27 yards, something's got to give here. You got to do better than that. But, this is one of the elite defenses in all of Colorado. And, in all of Colorado football, easily a top 10 unit, and I could see a case for a top 5 unit, borderline even top 3 unit. Just going to put that out there. Then against Rocky Mountain, this is where they really just cut him loose here. He had 46 pass attempts, threw for over 300 yards, 2 scores, no picks. This was a loss, and, the completion percentage kind of hurts a little bit here. But I think that this is promising that they're willing to hand the keys to him. And you see another, 42 attempt game the very next week against Fossil Ridge, almost 300 yards, 2 touchdowns, no picks. And then, this losing streak kind of continues, and it goes to Pooter where he throws 3 picks to 1 interception. I don't know about this game. Despite his play, they still only lost by a touchdown. But this is a very winnable game, I think, with Alex Birch, and one that you probably shouldn't lose here, especially when your defense, steps it up at least a little bit and holds the other team to a significantly lower score than the previous, 3 weeks. Then Legacy, he put up a really solid game, 73% completion percentage, It was his highest of the entire year, almost 74%, and 239 yards, 2 scores, no interceptions. It looks like, kind of looking at these games here in his rushing stats, they're one of those teams that count sacks as negative rushes. So you can tell against Fossil Ridge, in this 8 carries for negative 29 yards, Nathan Hallmark probably has something to do with how this game went, right? One of our top 5 senior edge rushers. And then against, Pooter here a little bit, he also has 6 carries for negative 13 yards, so probably see some pressure in this. You give him some time in the pocket, like in this Legacy game, where it's only 3 for negative 21, then he puts together a pretty good game. And then once again against Fairview, the ultimate upset here, and a great way to close out the season, and a very hopeful way to close out the season. He almost throws for 400 yards. He goes for 382, 2 touchdowns, 69% completion, nice. And he also rushes for a touchdown, which in this game that was decided by 5 points, that's pretty monumental. Simon, obviously we don't have a playoff game to talk about here with Alex Birch, but what do you think of this regular season put together? And just let me know when you're ready to watch these highlights.
Yeah, no, I mean, look, he had about as much of a freshman season as you can imagine. I like that they kind of gave him the keys here and just kept it going. I mean, look, if you have a talented freshman, you gotta decide whether you're going to start him on varsity or not. I'm not the biggest fan of going back and forth with it. I think just make a decisive decision, in my opinion. And then if you can't make that decisive decision, then you're going to pay. And I think Horizon, there were some ups and downs here for Alex Birch, but for working with what he has, that's pretty good, 2,130 yards, that's really good. 61% completion rating, 16 touchdowns to 5. That's better than Modzewski's touchdown rating, which obviously, they have completely different stories, so it's tough to compare that in general. So, but look, let's go ahead and hop into it. Alex Birch here, we have his highlights here. Did not get to see him throw too much in person. We knew about him throughout the season and whatnot. He'd have some good games here and there. And so, other than
setting Fairview did a lot to put him on our map, or at least me personally.
No, yeah, on the radar for sure. Insane, actually. So yeah. But I'm at 0-0, Kodey. Whenever you're ready, let's go ahead and hop into some of this Alex Birch film here.
Okay, I'm gonna count it. I'm gonna count it down. Are you ready for the countdown?
Mm-hmm.
I want to count it down. Okay, 3, 2, 1. Thought I didn't hit the click button for a second, but we're all right. All right, so you already see that this is a spread them out offense, and this is Fairview.
Nice smooth little release there too.
That's sweet. I think that might be Landon Loomis on the other end of that catch, who is a TFG guy, by the way. So look out for him this season, being Alex Birch's probably go-to guy here.
Nice job stepping up.
Oh,
that's a good job. That's near the back of the end zone here. The receiver had to adjust
tight,
for
but
it.
It's sweet.
Yeah.
That's kind of the only place that the receiver can make a play on that ball.
This
one, he just throws it up to his 6'4" target here. I think Kramer. He's a big body, so that.
Oh, okay, okay. I'll give him that then.
Yeah, no, he liked the matchup on that.
Okay.
All right, roll out left here. Nice touch, a little underthrown, but
yeah.
He didn't have to put it right on the money because he was so open. So.
Just Pooter here.
Yep, this is the game where he really struggled. Let's see, this is probably his touchdown throw. That's nice. Hey, let's watch this.
Yeah, let's see that again. Let's see that again.
Okay, so this play starts at 101, basically, okay?
Mm-hmm.
So it's a rollout left, and he's a right-handed quarterback. This is, Simon, you were kind of talking about this before, where I don't know why teams keep rolling out the right-handed quarterback to the left. But it doesn't matter because, okay, he does this rollout, he flips his hips, first off, to deliver this throw. This is what you love to see mechanics-wise, flipping of the hips. This window is not a big window. If you throw it too hard, it's not going to get there. If you throw it too far, it's not going to get there. This receiver literally gets this in by, I think, just 1 foot.
No, he got 2 feet in. He got 2 feet in.
Oh, he got 2 feet in. So that's perfect. That's a perfect throw because if your receiver can get 2 feet in this close to the boundary, gosh, this defender, first off, great route by this receiver, just knowing the field, knowing your quarterback. But this is This is an elite throw to the back corner of the end zone. This is a very difficult throw, not to mention it's one that he has to make on the run. Like, he doesn't set and plant. He just flips his hips for this throw, right? And that... Dude, this is an A1 throw here. I love this throw.
This is an interesting play call. I'm like replaying it over and over again. He has 2 running backs in the back, 2 receivers right here, 1 over here.
Yeah, wait. I didn't even think... Yeah, he's got 7 protectors here.
But these 2 running backs, they go block instead of running a route. This receiver out here is not even running a route. He's just blocking.
Destroyed, yeah.
Well, no, he's not even running around. He's just blocking. So this is a 1-on-1 matchup. I mean, obviously the coaching staff would have to recognize that it is man-to-man for them to make this throw, right? Or call this play.
Who's the receiver making this catch? I mean, if it's Loomis or Kramer, it makes a lot of sense. They do have some talented pass catchers over there at Horizon, I will say. Kramer being a 1,000-yard guy. They had another senior who, averaged 10 yards a catch. And then Landon Loomis, who we're familiar with. He didn't even play, he only played 7 games and still put up 300 yards. So, lots of seniors on this pass catching list, but also lots of juniors. And I think that's something that you can see for a lot of these freshman quarterbacks is, they have talented pass catchers to kind of help them out. Some of these more impressive seasons, Nick Stone, top 5 guy. Grant Page for Beckham Kritza would have been a top 5 guy. Ben Anderson, another solid receiver out there. JR and Jordan Rochelle, that freshman. And here at Horizon, you have Kramer, Loomis, and let's see this other guy here, Taggart, I want to say, or Taggart, for this Horizon team who had 42 catches. So just a quick little note. I had to put some respect on my receivers here. But what a throw here, and what a route as well. You're right. Interesting play call, but I mean, he's just like that. I'm at 114 whenever you are ready. Or if you want to talk about this a little bit more, go ahead.
No, not too much here. I mean, it's just a good throw here. Kramer was a senior this year, right? I'm just trying to remember. That's a shame. Okay. All right. Ready?
Yep.
3, 2, 1, go.
All right. Yep, I know who the quarterback is. Quick drop, quick release.
Nice job.
Maybe a little. He could have let it a little bit more, but that's just being nitpicky.
Yeah, it was good timing.
Throw. Yeah. Not these celebrations at the end of the play.
Oh.
This is the Tik Tok that I hate to edit, right, Simon? Rolling out left once again, but we're on the right hash. Underthrows this pass to number 2 here. That's a sweet grab. Oh, that's a great play by number 2 on this.
Yes.
Obviously, he got the ball there, but this is the inconsistency part of freshman throwing on the run, right?
Yeah, he could have waited on that.
Rocky Mountain.
Oh, same play.
This is a sweet throw. That's a sweet throw.
Was this here? Go back a little bit. Sorry. 158. Sorry, 153.
A 153. Okay.
Oh, it's not the same play. Never mind. But it's the same route
because you
concept.
have more routes. But I mean, this is just a great throw.
Yeah, this is the same route concept, though. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, same route concept. He's definitely open. And, I mean, look, this is a really easy pass, I think, that you can put too much juice on and sail out of the back of the end zone, especially on the run here. And it's a pass that, if you don't put enough touch on, if you try and do velocity, then maybe one of these defensive backs can make a play on it. But there's just so much touch on this that no matter how fast they run, they cannot make a play on this ball.
That's just a good job. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, I'm at 2 minutes.
Okay. 3, 2, 1.
Boom. Great catch, too.
Yep. Good route runners. Oh, this is fuzzy.
Who is this team?
I think this... Who is this team?
Nope, that's not it. That's. I mean,
so
here. Wait, let me go back.
We're analyzing this, right? We're breaking this down.
Oh, it's 4th and 9, 4th and 8. So first off,
so they just call 4 verts on 4th and 9.
Hold
on. Is this like the last play of the game? Maybe. I'm not really sure.
I don't know why. I don't know why. I don't know what team this is, but I don't recognize it because we literally just saw Rocky Mountain before, and this is not their stadium, or maybe it is their stadium here. Oh, it is Rocky Mountain. I'm tripping.
Oh,
My
so
bad.
I don't know who that. Does this game just go into the night? Probably. Is that
Yeah,
what
probably.
happens?
So
this might be like the last play of the game or something.
yeah,
I'm not sure.
22 to 33. He had 2 touchdowns in this game.
So okay, context considered, I'll allow it. And considering that they just called a Hail Mary, that is kind of where you want to put the ball. Your receiver should probably be a bit further downfield. But this
Yeah.
reminds me of that Aaron Rodgers to, was it Richard Rodgers throw against Detroit?
Just tight end.
Yeah, so I, upon further evaluation, don't hate this as much. This isn't a throw that he would do on first down, I'm assuming. So I'll call this a wash here.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, it is a
I won't
touchdown throw.
critique him.
It is in front of the defense. He does give his wide receiver a chance to make a play on it. Great catch, by the way, by this receiver.
I
He should have
know.
kept running a little bit. But you know, way to go up there and this safety, you're kind of sorry. But anyways.
Yeah, he should have made that play. Here, let's not critique. That's our boy Sean's guy, probably. But anyways, not the worst. I mean, like you said, Cody. I mean, here, well, let's just call it what it is. It's basically a throwaway at this point. If it's fourth down and you're just trying to take a shot here, so it's either near the end of the game or you never really had a chance to win this one. So. I mean, I'm not mad at it. Maybe wait a second more before throwing it, because this running back picks up the blitzer.
Probably right.
And then
he probably just gets a little too anxious.
Yeah, because his receiver had to make a great catch, which he was going to have to make one anyways, but he was like leaning real far back into that end zone here. Like he takes off from almost the 4 or 3. Sorry, what were you going to say?
Dang. No, that's a great. I didn't mean to cut you off. That's a great catch by this receiver. But and I'm just saying that Rocky Mountain does run a pretty good stunt here. I mean, I know that they pick up the blocks, but this is a pretty well executed stunt. I mean, the guard falls down. So I bet when Alex here sees the guard fall down, he's like, I need to throw this ball. One of my linemen is literally praying right now. Yeah, this play, it's a hard one to evaluate. So I'm just going to take it with a grain of salt, honestly. There's obviously critiques on this play, but context, I guess, or whatever.
Yeah. I'm at 220
It's a
here.
touchdown.
No, it is. It is. It's a score. We'll take it.
All right. On your count.
220. You're there.
Okay.
All right, ready? 3, 2, 1, go.
Doo-doo-doo. Long celebrations.
I like these red zone looks here.
Yeah, no, these formations are sweet. Play action, boot right.
Oh,
He's fine with
that guard
boot right,
just missed
and
that block. I'm sorry. That was a good throw and delivery. But I'm like, here, go back just real quick
hold on.
here.
I need to. Okay, are we? What are we watching here?
It was
he does
bad.
whiff.
He
puts
whiffs
his head down.
bad.
What is going on here? That's
I'm
the
sorry.
center, by the way.
Why is he
That's
pulling?
the center.
Why is he
This
so
is-
deep into the pocket?
I think that he could have pushed this. Okay, speaking about the throw, just being nitpicky here.
Yeah.
Obviously, he doesn't really need to push it further outside, but I'd like to see it further outside.
I think, well, here's where I'm at. I think he's looking at this corner here in purple, and he's thinking
And he thinks that he might turn around and make a play on it.
well, yeah, he's thinking this corner's going to pay better attention, probably, and jump this if he's not ready. But this corner gets a little insecure.
It's a safe throw.
No, it's a good. I think this is the right though. I think, in my opinion, if this corner wasn't so insecure, because he was looking at him, and then for a minute he like he tries to put his hand out there and he doesn't feel the receiver, and so he panics. So he turns around to find the receiver here, as he's running around here. And then this is a good throw. I mean, go ahead and release it. I mean, your receiver's going to make a play. This is still on the money here. But also, if that corner was here instead of all the way in the back of the end zone, he'd be right here, able to jump it. So, throwing it a little bit lower here so that your receiver kind of falls backwards is not the worst thing,
Okay, I see it.
So yeah.
That's why we talk through. That's why we talk through it.
But also, I'm sorry, 78. I get the block. I don't know what that is, but that's not it. So
Hey, he probably heard it from his. You imagine this line coach? Oh man, This is the play where it's like, we score here despite what you did. That's what the coach probably said word for word. Because I've heard that. I've heard that in those film room dissections here. So, that's tough. But anyways,
good throw, Birch.
Where are you at?
I'm at 240.
Okay, let me get there real quick.
All right.
Okay, on your count.
3, 2, 1, go.
Okay.
Still a good throw. I see where he was going with that. That's good placement, especially on the run. His throw on the run is pretty up there.
It's nice. It's nice. Quick release.
Oh
here.
yeah.
Ooh.
Look at this little thing in the way. Here, let's rewind that.
The horn is in the way here. What the heck is going on?
I mean, here, sorry. I'm at 250, by the way. 247. That's when it starts.
Yeah. We're just rewatching this play, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, quick drop,
this is just
quick
good.
release. And he looks left first, right?
Oh, does he? Here, let me look at this real quick.
Just a little bit.
Yeah, he
It's
gives him
not
a
even
glance
full
this
count.
way.
So just a quick glance, which is enough to the safety.
Here,
I
let
mean,
me
the
look at
safety
this
has
one
no
more
chance
time.
at making this throw. Great catch by these receivers are nice with it.
Yeah, they are. This was a good throw, though. I mean, a little overthrown. You want to throw it into that breadbasket more like. But first off, great extension by this receiver here. You know,
This receiver probably could have kept running and made it, potentially.
maybe it's a little
I mean,
overthrown. Not the worst.
Take the risk out of it. I like that he pushes it outside, though. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
A lot of quarterbacks on this throw, they'll push it a little too far inside where the receiver can still make a play on it, but the DB can also make a play on it. On this play, despite it being overthrown, the defensive back has no chance at playing this ball at all.
No,
Literally zero. And so it's kind of what you were talking about earlier, where it's like, I'd rather see you overthrow it than underthrow it, especially here.
Yes.
And, especially with this receiving core able to make plays like this. Is this just 4 verts again?
Oh, is it?
Why did I keep
By the way,
writing 4 verts?
A- type of throw. It would be an A+, but just
If the
bring it
receiver
down a
didn't
little
have to be a little bit phenomenal here.
bit. Yeah, dang,
Great catch by this
they're
receiver.
going deep. All these routes are deep routes.
Deep, in the immortal words of Mason Austyn, deep shots from the beginning.
Well, let's get the snake going.
Yeah,
253 on
Okay.
your account. You got it.
3, 2, 1.
Great catch, though.
Yeah.
We need to make it out to. I need to make it out to a Horizon game.
I will be out at a Horizon game. Okay, this is against Boulder once again. This is an interesting. It looks like a
Some
strong
look.
formation. Okay,
Good
great
block.
pick up the blocks.
Nice job.
Okay. Yeah, that's nice.
Yeah, maybe push it a little bit more outside, but not the worst.
That's what I was gonna say.
It's
But,
an
I
easy
mean,
throw, though.
This is pretty nitpicky.
Mhm.
It's these throws on the run set him up for pretty easy throws, but he's delivering. You know what I mean? So,
Nice
ooh,
job.
That's nice.
Nice
That's way
job.
nice.
Very good
Just
job.
over that linebacker.
Yup.
We love that.
I like it. Like
Now
these
this
red
is
zone
building an
looks.
offense around you. This is what happens when you run the same offense all year with one quarterback. He
Yes.
gets comfortable.
Oh, step up in
That's
that
against
pocket,
range
though.
view.
Step up in that pocket, but that's a
Yep.
good delivery of the ball.
Oh, I rewatched that low key. But
Oh, here,
anyways.
let's go back a little bit here. Here, I'm just going to point it out real quick, and then we could go. I'm at 346, by the way, Kodey.
Yep.
All right. Look.
You're
this-
right. He just stays still
Yeah.
here.
Just take a step up, That
Because
might
you're
actually go
tackling
against
catch back
awareness. I don't know if he knows that guy's coming around.
He doesn't
Because he
seem
looks
to
a
pay
little
him any
too.
mind.
He looks a little too comfortable. He looks at him, but that's okay. Still a really great delivery though. So I'll take that. But hey, just step up there, and then deliver it. Anyways, I'm at 350. Ready?
Okay, yep.
3, 2, 1, go. Good catch and reach out by that
I
receiver.
love the
too.
enthusiasm of this Horizon squad every time they score a touchdown.
I do as well.
All right, so nice play fake.
RPO.
That's nice.
Boom.
Ooh, that's a tight throw.
Yeah, that was a lot closer than it looked, but very
Yeah.
good job. That corner's a little shorter too, but that's okay.
Okay, booting to the short side of the field here. Nice throw.
Nice.
I like it.
Nice little rope right there.
Okay. And
Okay.
those are Alex Birch's highlights.
Well,
There's a lot to kind of look at here.
yeah, here, I'll replay it while we kind of talk through some of these things here. Okay. Here, let me start with some of the things that I know for sure. Throw on the run, I think, is easily up there. I mean, he could air it out, with some accuracy as well. Very smooth, quick motion. Looks, I mean, like I said, throw on the run, it's always kind of an awkward thing for some players, but he does a really good job just getting the ball there, avoiding the pressure, getting the ball there. This isn't his fault, but there are definitely times where I feel like, maybe you don't have to roll him out all the time. But maybe that's
roll him out quite a bit.
Yeah, and he doesn't have a lot of rushing touchdowns, so maybe that's just a wrinkle in their offense. They're good. And I'm sorry if I'm giving away their secrets here real quick, but maybe they're gonna keep rolling him out, and one of these days they're gonna be like, hey, if there's nobody there, if everyone's in the end zone, go ahead and take your 10 yards and run over a fool and get in the end zone. So, or reach over, maybe not run over. So there you go. So that's probably a wrinkle in their offense. Not that it's the greatest, I'm just going to say that. But on the run, I think I'm going to give him an 8.8. Let's go 8.7. 8.7. Why? Where are you at with that?
I put it at a 9.1.
That's good. That's okay. I think I would like to see
The sample size is a
more.
little small for me to be doing that. Yeah, I was just thinking that.
But that's okay.
I'll put it at a flat 9.
That's
I think
okay.
it's easily his strongest category here.
Mm-hmm.
So
let's you want to talk about mechanics next? I think his mechanics are pretty smooth, plus fluidity.
Yeah, I think it's at least an 8 something, honestly.
Yeah.
I think I'm sitting at like an 8.2. Because I mean, the thing about
8.3.
him not really planting to throw is that he's being asked to throw on the run. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So
it's not
I
his
love that for
decision.
yeah, like that's what he's being asked to do, and he does it really. I'm gonna bump it up actually to like an 8.5. He's just so smooth.
Yeah. Quick release.
Yeah,
Very
the
quick
release is
release.
nice. He brings it a little low, but that's okay.
I'll meet at a 8.5 here. It looks a lot like Greg. It reminds me a little bit of Greg Garza here personally. So, except a little faster.
5'10", 160 pounds. That's great Garza-ish too, right? So
Yeah.
let's see here. Okay, arm power. This is one of those things where he shows the ability to really throw some ropes, I feel like,
Mm-hmm.
and flex some of that velocity, and he does throw it down the sidelines pretty well, but he doesn't really. There's not a whole lot of like 50-yard bombs on his film, so I'm giving him like an 8.1, right? Kind of where I'm at, where I think it's pretty good, but there's room for improvement. He's not like taking the top off the defenses like every other, like some of these quarterbacks that we see, like Keegan Patterson, right? You talk about elite arm power. He's somebody who's pushing it down the field constantly, and that's why he gets like a 9.3. You look at a Greg Garza, who's able to throw like 50-yard bombs at this same frame, you know what I mean? And also show some velocity on comeback routes. That's what a 9 looks like to me, and I think that this is just one step below a 9.
Agreed. I'm giving him an 8.3 on that arm power. There's room for improvement. I mean, he's a freshman. He'll get bigger. I think his frame, by the way, at 5'10", 160, that's probably more realistic for your typical freshman. So, you're working with what you got. That's just what it is. You're working with what you got. I feel like these last couple weeks, we've just had some absolute, tanks out here. Between Bordeaux, Palladino, Cam Coop, even Modzewski, or Austyn as well. So that probably affects arm power just a little bit here. He'll get stronger, so I'm not, tripping over it. But I would like to see him go vertical,
Yep.
as in 40, 30 plus. Probably 40 plus. We'll say that.
Simon, since you brought up his frame, I think that this is a good time to bring it up. I just give him the same score as Greg Garza here. I'm giving him a 5, which is what I gave Garza. And since we're talking about frame, and this is the lowest grade that we've given him so far, I kind of want to talk about things that I do think need improvement. And this play that's at least playing on the stream that I'm watching right now, where he doesn't notice this pressure really, I think that pocket awareness is something that he needs to work on. And part of that reason, I will admit, is because, I mean, he's rolling out a lot. But that doesn't really give you an opportunity to, you know, show great awareness. But I will say, this is like, I don't know how you kind of feel on this, but I feel like his pocket awareness needs work, but his pocket movement is good because his pocket movement is adaptive to his rollouts.
No, agreed.
He doesn't step up a lot, so I'm not going to give him a crazy high grade. But I want to say his pocket awareness being something that needs a little bit more work and tuning, I probably want to give it like, and he either doesn't sense the pressure or he feels it way too hard. So I want to give his awareness in the pocket probably like a 4.7 is what I'm going to land on. But I'll give his pocket movement like a 6 point, maybe like a 6.8.
Okay.
No, I'm going to go 6.4.
I'm rounding up, just barely. I gave him a 5 pocket awareness, 7 pocket movement. We've seen him do the movement and whatnot. I think I just want to see a little bit more. And also, by the way, you know, when you're moving up in the pocket, you don't always have to do that just to throw deep or throw medium. You know, you can move up in the pocket as you're going through your reads and still throw your check down eventually. And so it's kind of something I want to see as well. But 7 for pocket movement. I know he could do it. You know, he looks solid doing it. 5 pocket awareness, probably with the potential to be a little bit lower. There are just times where I feel like he's not sensing the pressure. You know, either that or he's in denial. And he's just, you know, gonna... brute force it, you know, but whatever. You know, I mean, look, as a quarterback, you gotta recognize defenses. Even if you don't have the greatest awareness, like you could just sense that pressure, at least know when they're sending 1 or 2 more guys. Now, there are a couple plays here where, you know, he knows that they're sending 1 or 2 more guys, and it's because they're rolling out, you know, and so I think that's something that he could probably develop a little bit more on his own here and get better. So, yeah, but that's kind of where I'm at, 5 and 7, very similar. By the way, gave him a 5 for frame and size. That's because that's what I gave Greg Garza. I think they're about the same size. Garza might be a little bit bigger though, so not like a lot, but you know he's up there. So yeah, do we want to talk arm accuracy real quick here?
Yeah,
I think he throws on the money a lot. You know, a lot of his throw on the run. Ability, especially when it comes to accuracy, I kind of put in that category. But just in general, just standing and throwing, I mean, for the most part, it's alright. It could be a little bit more consistent with ball placement when he's not throwing on the run, that is. But for now, I think a 6.5 is alright. You know, it could be better, in my opinion. But it could also be worse. You know, I think for now, it's gonna do. But I think as, you know, you are given more opportunities to kind of just set and throw, you know, I'd like to see where he's at there. Actually, you know what? I'm going to give him a little bit more slack here. Just go 6.8. I want to see more consistency, you know, when he's not rolling out. Because I think a lot of quarterbacks, they roll out, they get used to throwing on the run. That's fine. I think for him, I want to see more just set and throw type of stuff, you know. I want to see if he can hit an out route straight up. Because, without running with the route as well. Because we didn't really see that at all. What do you think?
I gave him just a little bit higher of a score on the 7.4. Mainly just because, I mean, I know what you're saying, that a lot of it's the throw on the run, obviously. And there are throws that I want to see him make that he doesn't make in this film. But he does wow me with ball placement. And that's what earns him at least that 7. It's just like, you know, those corner of the end zone throws where I'm just like, that's amazing. That's a good throw. But then you lose a little bit of the consistency, and this will kind of tie in with timing a little bit too. But on some of these deeper throws where their receivers kind of have to adjust pretty abrasively to where the ball is, that's where the arm accuracy struggles a little bit. And actually, with that last play, I'm going to put it down to a 7.3. So we're only a half-point difference here. And I think that this is a great time to talk about timing on throws. I think for what he's asked to do, he does a phenomenal job at throwing when he needs to throw and delivering the throws that he's asked to throw. And so for that, I did give his timing a 7.8. I do think that it does need some improvement. He does show, slight underthrows here and there, but it's not enough for me to call it bad or anything like that. I think that it's above average to good. And, I think that his timing is in his bag. And, I'm tempted to put it at an 8, but I'm going to keep it at a 7.8 and see what Coach V thinks here.
Yeah, that's fine. I could see it. I have him at 7.3. A little bit more critical here. I mean, it's not like, just going to be real, it's not like he's throwing a lot of passes here that require great timing, like deep digs, outs, stuff like that. Even this little, rollout and throwing this hitch here could have been a lot better. He threw it really low first off, so there's accuracy.
Dropping my score to 7.5.
Yeah, so, it could be better. I really want to see him work that medium throw game here. I know he could throw it short. I know he could throw on the run. I know he can throw it just a little bit deep here. But I think what I really want to see here, when I do go out to a game and evaluate him, I want to see some of these medium throws. I want to see, hey, can you hit this dig route? That's a route that, players and scouts and coaches look at in the combine, I saw this video about, throws that really make you stand out at the combine. And the ones that, really, make you stand out as far as timing goes and what a lot of scouts grade when it comes to timing is whether they could throw the dig out, and I think it's deep corner post or something like that. And so if you could throw those routes with great timing, it'll show. If you can't throw with great timing, then you're either going to overshoot it or most likely undershoot it as, you're trying to impress and you'd rather complete the pass, especially if there's no defenders. And so those are the routes that are very telling when it comes to timing. And I just didn't see a lot of those, and I need to see more. So that's kind of where I'm at as far as timing is. Not horrible. It's at a 7.3, but could be better for sure.
He's like the dream quarterback for the Cherokee Trail offense, honestly, which obviously free agency doesn't exist in high school football. Otherwise, I think Alex Birch could actually push Cherokee Trail further in the playoffs. But, that's kind of what that reminds me of, is watching Logan Brooks' film and just looking at the offenses comparably. I don't want to compare Alex to Logan because, honestly, I have him graded higher than Logan Brooks. But that's kind of what it reminds me of.
Fair enough.
So that brings us to two final categories here, which is decision-making skills and scramble ability. I'm going to start with scramble ability. He only has one rushing touchdown this entire season, but, you kind of have to think that there is some athletic potential here with how many rollouts he had. And so basing it off of a little bit obviously, whenever I do this, I have other quarterbacks' grades pulled up and, make sure that I'm consistent with my grades here. I think that given the opportunities that he has and you don't see a lot of running, it's not what he really wants to do, but I think he has the capability to do it based off of just his athleticism. So I'm giving him a 4.6. It's not a threat, but I think that as far as what you want your typical quarterback to kind of be able to do, I think that, he could pick up 4 yards here, slide kind of thing is what I kind of envision, where he's not really built to do it, but he will if he needs to, and he's athletic enough, and he's not really, I don't really want to call him a pocket quarterback because of how much that they have him roll out. But I don't really see him run either, so it's hard for me to grade him much higher. I might even drop it to a 4.4.
Okay.
So if you want to talk about that and then jump into decision-making skills.
Yeah, I'm giving him a 7.5. He could definitely move, whenever he's rolling out, it's not like he's getting, clobbered by a lineman or a linebacker. He's outrunning them. If he really wanted to most of these little rollouts and dump offs, he could run it in himself. So if you want a stat pad there, you can. But, I like it. He's being more of a pass-first type of guy. So I'm giving him a 7.5. I feel like he could really get out there and move, though. He looks real fluid in his movement and whatnot. So I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt. Give him a 7.5 there. Decision-making, I'm kind of going to be a little bit tougher on partly the coaching staff and him as well. But I'm giving him a 5 for now. I feel like this offense was really limited. I'm just looking through. I'm looking through his reel. I'm looking through some of the plays. I found some other games earlier and whatnot. I just feel like there are times where this offense is very like they're working one side of the field, especially when they're in the red zone, and you know it. And what they're trying to do here, I know what they're trying to do. They're trying to catch, the defense in man. They're going to force them to really get into man and whatnot and rip them apart while they're in zone. But, I just feel like there are times where it's just so, maybe one or two reads here. Maybe not one read, but, 2 or 3 reads here, and one of those reads is like this RPO that he's running right here where, you either hand it off or you go run it in yourself. Or you throw it, and so very, very simple play calling. I'd like to see them open up the playbook here. I noticed that they are dropping a lot of players into, not dropping them into, but making them block instead of going out for routes, and so that obviously takes away receivers and whatnot. And so if I'm Birch here, I'm like, hey coach, let the running back go. Let me beat out the defender. I got the defender. I'll make him miss. Then that way I have another receiving option rather than making 2 reads and whatnot. Because the better defense will look at that and be like, or a Grandview defense will look at that and be like, well, we have players that could cover everybody. So boom, read 1, taken out. Read 2, taken out. And then what's left? You know what I mean? And that's where you're in a tough sitch. And so I'd like to see this offense get a little bit more complicated here. And so for that, I'm giving him a 5 because I feel like I just can't grade him higher because it's not like these reads are crazy. Plus, I kind of feel like he relies on his receivers to make pretty excellent plays a lot in the red zone, which isn't the worst thing. But, it's not him making a great decision. It's him seeing 101 and being like, hey, I'm going to throw it to him. And that's fine, but he's not looking to, receivers open. So that's kind of where I'm at. It's not as big a slight to him as it might feel. What do you think about that, though, Kodey?
Playbook. This is a reoccurring problem throughout Colorado football, obviously. I still give his decision-making skills a 5.8 because I feel like the decisions that he's being asked to make, he's doing a pretty solid job. Some of these 4 verts plays, I think that he's throwing it to the correct receiver, which is obviously a good sign. He's throwing it to the most open or the one with the best matchup, and that is a decision to make. So I think that for what he's being asked to do, he's doing an excellent job at it, but I do want to see an expansion of decisions to be made. Even if it's consistent RPOs, that's one more layer that we can kind of add on. When he's asked to make those quick reads, I think that he does a good job with that. And, when he's rolling out, I think that he does a good job of, he has shorter routes open on these, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
He does a good job of making the correct read on those, even, those 2 routes at the same time. It's not a lot, but I think that what he's asked to do, he does a good job at, which is why I give him a 5.8. And ultimately, why my final grade here for Alex Birch is a 67.9. I think he's a good quarterback.
I gave him a 69.1.
Nice.
Yeah. Look, it's similar.
Much of a difference here.
Yeah, I think, honestly, just looking at it, man, some of this play calling, and look, if you can't master the playbook, if the reason that, the play calling is limited is because of you, then obviously you need to put in work, right? You got to show coach, hey, this is easy. And first off, I do want to give the coaching staff some, credit. Hey, they're giving him opportunities to throw it. They're giving him some pretty easy concepts that are, they're easy to, read when it's a one-on-one, when it's man-to-man,
It's a good freshman year playbook, is what I was
Yeah, especially when you have a guy, who you really want to settle into this role at quarterback. Obviously, not just as the passer, but as the leader of this team and stuff like that. So you don't want to put more pressure on him than you want. But I kind of wish that down the line that they added a little bit more. They added some concepts that Mountain Vista would drop from Austyn here and whatnot, because I just feel like it's a little limited, and so a little limited, and so I think that definitely hurts him. And some of these grades could be higher if he was running a more complex playbook. I'm just gonna throw that out there. So yeah.
I believe in him to make all these plays and all these throws, but it's one of those things where we can't really just give it to him without seeing an expansion, especially on the decision making. That's the big kind of thing. Squatting 335. Good job, Alex, in the weight room, putting in that work.
It's pretty good.
Speaking of, those are our final grades. Outlook here is important with Alex, and here's why. Leading running back, senior. Leading receiver 1, senior. Leading receiver 2, senior. 5th leading receiver who caught a touchdown, senior. 2 other guys who caught touchdowns, also seniors. They're returning 2 pass catchers who had a combined 4 touchdowns and 500 yards, which is more fortunate than some teams.
Yeah.
But look, Alex, you got to be ready to take this thing over, because, look, there's just not a lot of receivers in the state who are built like Blake Kramer was at 6'4".
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There weren't a lot of receivers who were built like that, who you could throw those jump balls to. Even William, he's 5'11", 185 pounds. He's stout. Landon Loomis, he's good. Okay?
Yeah, he's a heck of a receiver.
We've seen him put in work for TFG. He's fast, too. So he's going to open up opportunities for you to push the ball downfield, and you just better be ready to do that, because this offense is just going to look very different, not only because you're a sophomore now, but because the talent and the build of this roster is significantly changed. This was a team that, kind of struggled in the run game. There is, Brooks here, this senior running back, he ran for 11 touchdowns. After that, it's a pretty significant drop-off. The other 3 runners had 1. So you're hoping that this, running back who's up next is ready to take on, it's a pretty light workload here at Horizon. They like to throw the ball, obviously, with almost 300 attempts for Alex in his first year. But, this is going to be a huge, massive, maybe even one of the biggest prove-it years of any player that we've dissected heading into this next year, simply because so much is changing. Beckham, he did have some receivers graduate, but he has Rochelle for the next few years. You know what I mean? We know some of those wide receivers are going to be at Thunder Ridge for DJ Bordeaux heading in. We know that, Pine Creek is one of the most stable programs in the entire state in any level of football. So Cameron Cooper's got that going for him. Blake Palladino going into one of the best offensive systems in the state at Dakota Ridge. Even Austyn Don't do me like that.
Just keep going. Just keep going. You're good.
Austyn has Jakai and Japri. He's losing Nick Stone, but he has those guys that are his class. Those are his great guys, and then Japri, who's also young, and just a lot of experience throwing to those same guys. Alex, he has Landon Loomis, but then after that, who's the next guy up? Because Landon's going to be a senior too. So Alex, he definitely has quite a road ahead of him. But if he focuses on these things, and if the coaches open up the playbook for him, I think that that's going to help him out quite a bit. That's my huge outlook here on Alex Birch.
For sure.
It's very playbook reliant, and obviously every quarterback's personnel reliant. But this is a lot of turnover from one year to the next. And this is a Horizon program that, their last winning season was basically when I was a senior in high school. So not calling me old. But this Horizon team, they're looking for their savior here. And Alex, you either are or you aren't that guy. So that's where this is at.
Yeah, no, for sure. You're losing some guys. What was that?
I just need to catch up on this. I just need to catch up on this chat.
Yeah,
you go ahead and do your breakdown, then I'm gonna shout this out.
You're good. Look. you're losing some guys, but next year shouldn't be the biggest drop off. I want to see some improvement here. Like, look, I'm not going to put too much blame on the coaching staff. I feel like I'm always critical of coaching staffs, especially in Colorado. I definitely give them way less, leeway than some flag football coaches in Florida, in my opinion. And so, look, with Alex Birch here, man, if you're not ready and whatnot, and the reason they're calling a conservative play calling or conservative plays, if that's because of you, I mean, fix it, Hey, if you want to be able to throw it deep, if you want to run more complicated concepts, you got to prove it to the coaching staff. You got to prove that this should be bread and butter right here. All these little rollout, RPO looks, short passes, whatever, that should be stuff that you're adding on as like first down type of plays when they first kick it off to you. And then you build off of that. You layer some of these concepts here. Because there are, it's not the worst concepts to be running. There are some teams that run a lot simpler, or they can't even run these, and so there's credit, there, but that's not saying a lot. You want to play at a high level, and, if you want to be a high-level quarterback, you got to prove it mentally. So yeah, that's kind of just where I'm at. I mean, look, it's never a bad thing to trust your receivers and whatnot, obviously, especially in the red zone, but, I mean, look, you gotta develop as a quarterback eventually. Blake Barnett, he eventually moved on from relying too much on his running backs and whatnot, and he turned into his own guy. And so for Alex Birch here, obviously he's a freshman and whatnot, but I would say the general vibe here is that next year you gotta take a step forward. A lot of this little dink and dunk stuff, it's cool. He makes some great throws here and there, but you gotta take that to another level and show coaches that I can hit these digs. I can hit these outs. I can hit these post corners, because I'll make, honestly, I'll make defenses pay if it's 101. Make that your bread and butter, and then from there, dissect zones and whatnot, get your pre-snap reads down. And so, look, I think just watching him, I like the mechanics. I like relatively the arm power, accuracy, arm talent there in general, his athleticism. I think from here on out, I just need to see him make some high IQ plays at quarterback. Continue to develop there, learn that playbook, and learn defenses too. That's a very underrated thing that I think some quarterbacks don't really look at. Like, they'll learn their playbook and master it and know, what receivers to throw to when it's not there, but they're not willing to learn a defense and just know what the defense is running. Be a DC in your own mind and know where those weaknesses are instead of, just relying on your receiver to win a 1-on-1 matchup or a 1v2 matchup. So yeah. But a lot of potential here, though. They're
Barnett. That's a great comparison that you brought up, by the way, Simon.
Well, they're not. He's not Blake Barnett.
Situation-wise,
yeah.
Like freshman year, we were like, hey, we need to see some expansion in decision-making and, being that guy and, running a little bit of a different offense and stuff like that. And I just mean as far as, like, expectations heading forward for Alex Birch and the expectations that we had for Blake Barnett heading forward were pretty similar.
Yeah, they're reasonable. I think they're reasonable. I mean, with Barnett, we expected him to take a step forward. Obviously, Mason Beeve wasn't going to be there anymore, so he was kind of pushed into that spot where, like, yeah, you got to take a step forward, because what's the point of us just running it and then us having a running quarterback, but we can't pass it even though we have all these pass catchers like Ochtziger and whatnot, So, I don't think we're asking too much here out of him. I think, this is pretty typical out of most freshman quarterbacks, not just in Colorado, but around the country. You usually start conservative, build that confidence, help him earn his swagger, and then you go from there. You get better. You find a way to get better. So yeah. But we'll see. I think he's a sleeper. I think when it comes to freshman quarterbacks, and we're guilty of it, I'm guilty of it, obviously. I mean, we give a lot of attention to Beckham, to Austyn, Heidel from Ponderosa. We give them a lot of attention, and then Alex Birch is kind of, he's on the back end of some of these things. But I think they have a good thing going over there at Horizon, but don't get it twisted. You still got to prove yourself. You know, he's not at a program like a Fairview that we know is good at passing, right? He's not even at Mountain Vista, who has such a great culture, you know, and have that built right now. You know, he's at a program in the Horizon that, you know, he's going to need to put in work with. You know, he's going to have to take it personally and get better. Look at Jason Riley and what he did with Golden, you know. It wasn't going to be given to him there. He had to get better, and he did. You know, he grew with this squad and whatnot, rocked with that squad, even though he could have played for any other school, you know. So, yeah, I'm just going to throw all that out there, and we'll see what happens, you know.
Yep.
Anything else you want to add on here, Kodey, before we wrap this live stream up? I think, I mean, honestly, I don't think there's too much more here, you know.
Thank you, chat. I'm not used to the chat being this active, so I just want to shout out Dre611 for, you know, pumping up his boy Alex here, and, you know, I love this commentary here. Call him Picasso with that touch. Mechanics are solid. Repping 225 on bench. That's nice. And all the way from Louisiana, apparently. So thank you, Dre, for tuning in. And thank you guys for joining in the chat. Sorry I responded so late. I'm not used to it being that active. So that's something that I'll have to keep an eye out for next time. And in my defense, I'm grading a quarterback here. So cut me some slack.
We're doing our jobs.
Yeah.
That we don't get paid for.
Well.
Yeah.
Well, if you feel bad for us as poor podcast hosters here, go ahead and show us some love via social media: Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Playmakers Corner. You can find us anywhere on there. We're also on TikTok as well as YouTube, posting content. If you haven't already, make sure to subscribe or follow or like our Twitch as well, so that we can work our way towards being partners. So those are all of our video outlets to watch stuff like that, as well as Instagram, obviously. And if you like all those, then go ahead and listen to our other episodes that we post to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, as well as Anchor. And make sure that if you're already listening to us on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, or any of those podcasts, that you're following, liking, or subscribing on any of those, so you get notifications for all of our latest episodes. Gosh, I feel like I feel some kind of way always doing this outro now. It feels so corny and cheesy, but don't let that stop you from going and finding all of those resources. Am I a sellout, Simon?
No, I'm kind of surprised you haven't said this yet, but Happy International Women's Day, by the way. So
yes! Oh my gosh, obviously, Happy International Women's Day. God, you make me sound sus when you said Happy Women's Month.
Yeah, he doesn't even know. See, we have it on. We have a clip that. We look at him. Look at him right now. Hey, shout out to our homegirl Devin Silvestri. Hopefully, getting that dub in her home opener tonight. As Florida football gets started here, yesterday and today. So yeah. Oh look, our views went up by 9.
To celebrate Women's History Month, make sure that you're listening to History Happen Live on our NAIA Women's Flag Football recaps on Fridays.
Yes.
History in the making.
Literally in the making. So yeah, second year, and they're doing all that great stuff. Power rankings coming out pretty. They'll always come out on Fridays. Playmakers of the Week will come out Fridays. I need to run this by you. I need to run this by our team, Kodey. But I would also like for us to get to vote on Playmakers of the Week at the high school level, nationally as well. As some teams are getting started, like I said, Florida, Nevada finished their season. Congrats to those state champs. Arizona's going right now. I know Hamilton's playing tonight. So hopefully, best of luck to them and whatnot. But yeah, so there you go. Full thing will be on YouTube. Like Kodey said, subscribe, like, comment, all that great stuff, you know, and we'll catch y'all later. We'll see you next week.
Peace.